When was the last time your family sat down to have a dinner together? Busy schedules, after school activities, television, and social activities all play a role in how we eat dinner together as a family now. When I was younger, we had a lot of family dinners together. We would probably sit down to eat together about 5 times a week. My mother was a stay-at-home mom up until I was about 11 years old, and my father would come home, dinner would be ready. Me and my sisters would all set the table together, and my dad would serve dinner, and we would all typically clear our plates and do the dishes afterwards. Once my mom got a full-time job, that ended quickly. She was no longer able to spend the amount of time that she did preparing dinners, and we ended up doing a lot of takeout from the age of, I would say, 12 to 15. When I was 15, I really decided that I wanted to start preparing dinners for my family, because I would be able to get home from school and I would be able to prepare something that my parents and my sisters and I can have to sit down together again and eat more healthfully. Some things that I want to talk to you about today are how family dinners promote healthy eating habits, how they can assist in the reduction of substance abuse risks, and also how to incorporate steps to make time to have those family dinners for yourself again. Eating dinner together as a family will promote healthy eating habits. It will reduce the risk of substance abuse in adolescents, and it can be worked into busy families easily. The first thing I want to talk about today is how preparing dinner can help with healthy eating habits. A lot of times when we are busy and we don't know what to make for dinner, we will reach for takeout. And you always hear about how takeout is not the best choice because of all of the, sometimes chemicals and the saturated fats that it has in there. And, I really wanted to get away from that when I was 15. I was diagnosed with a disease that really was affected more by eating foods that I shouldn't have. So I was able to accommodate my food allergies by preparing dinners on my own. And I would also be able to control the wholesome foods that my family had. We really needed to incorporate some more whole grains into our diets, and we really needed to cook with healthier fats. My mother has high blood pressure. My father has slightly high cholesterol. So preparing meals at home really allows you to accommodate your family's food allergies or health risks. So that's a really great reason to cook at home and have your family dinners together. You're also able to promote healthy eating habits. One of those are with children. I know when I was younger, having my mom prepare meals really enabled me to try new things that I may not have tried. She would cook them over and over and over and over again until we eventually did try them. And for the most part, we really enjoyed most of them. One thing that really took a long time for me to like was fish. My mother hates fish. She would rarely prepare it. And I just about 2 years ago started to venture on eating fish. I would start with the white flaky fish, then I would try things like shrimp and lobster. But that really speaks to me because the reason I did not like fish was because my mother would never prepare it. So, being able to cook with your children and have them recognize the food and try it many times really avoids picky eaters. You can also cook with your kids. One thing that my mother would do was that she would set out baking cups and baking spoons and everything, and she would pre-measure the ingredients and allow us to place them in the bowl and mix them together. That really gave us ownership of the food, and we were more likely to try the food if we prepared the food with her. Another reason for having family dinners is the prevention of eating disorders. Dr. Diane Newmark-Stainer from the Archives of Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine states that cross-sectional studies have found that adolescents, particularly girls, who report more frequent family meals are less likely to engage in disordered eating behaviors than adolescents eating fewer family meals. I know that nowadays a lot of teenagers are pressured with media and all this other type of stuff to look thinner and tinier, but to have healthy eating habits is really a big deal with that, and being able to have family dinners together with one another reduces the risk of those eating disorders. So that is a huge reason to have family dinners in this day and age. I also want to talk to you about reducing the risk of substance abuse. You might wonder what the correlation between meals and substance abuse is. I have a statement here. It says, as in the case with all studies that observe people over time, the big question is whether the family meal really leads to healthier habits. Could it be that kids from happier, more health-conscious families are simply more likely to sit down to a family meal? The University of Minnesota researchers have sought to answer that question by looking at family connectedness, which essentially measures the psychological health of the family. Children from highly connected families have been shown to eat healthier foods, get better grades, and have lower risk for smoking and drug and alcohol use. But in the Minnesota research, whether the family was connected or troubled was less important than whether they regularly dined together. So that is a huge deal. Typically, at least when I did my research, I thought that it was going to be because the family was more apt to eat together. They would have less instances of drug, alcohol, and substance abuse. But the true test was, in families that may not see each other or do, extracurricular activities together anywhere else, even though they didn't do that, as long as they sat down and had their family dinner together, that was really what deterred the drug and alcohol abuse. Another way that it can incorporate that is open communication. Reducing the risk of substance abuse begins with open communication, and by sitting down as a family unit, parents are able to praise their children for their accomplishments, and they really show interest in their child's life. The final thing I want to talk to you about today is how to incorporate steps to make time for family meals together. Jeannie Lurch Davis from WebMD gave 10 tips for organizing family dinners, and I picked out 4 that I really thought were very important. The first is setting goals. When you're going to tackle anything, the first thing that you should do is set goals. And the way to do it in this instance is to pick a couple of days a week that you really dedicate to having your sit-down dinners with your family. One day that usually works for everyone are Sundays. Typically, kids are not in school. Their parents usually work 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. So Sundays are really a great day that you can sit down together and take that 1 hour out of your day and really prepare dinner together and sit down and eat it together. Also, make a vow to limit your takeout. I know that takeout is the easy way out sometimes, but it's really important to have less takeout. If you need to do takeout, at least sit down and have the takeout together. Don't sit in front of a TV and eat the takeout. You'll still be able to have that family connectedness even though you did not prepare the meal together. Another tip that Jeannie gave was to involve your family. I think this is a great idea. You're really able to disperse the parts of the meal and have a lot less stress on your shoulders. You can ask your younger children to set the table, your older children to help do something like a salad, and maybe they'll even be interested in making cookies or something. I mean, what kids aren't interested in making dessert? So that's a really important tip. Another thing is busy night solutions. This is something that really spoke to me because this is something that I do a lot. I do a lot of crock-pot meals, and I do a lot of cook once and eat twice. Crock-pot meals are a great way to just incorporate all your ingredients in one place. You turn it on, you don't have to worry about having the stove on all day or anything. You just plug it in, turn it on, and then 8 hours later you're going to have a great meal that you can sit down to and not feel stressed over. Cook once and eat twice is something that I do very often. Whenever I'm making casseroles or I'm doing something like a lasagna or something that freezes well, I'll make a double batch, and then I'll put the other batch in the freezer so we can eat it on a busy night. Just pull it out, throw it in the oven, and then an hour later you're able to eat a home cooked meal that you didn't have to stress over. Finally, she gave tips on things not to do. You shouldn't have serious discussions during the family dinner. You really want to have a light atmosphere where people can talk about their day, their accomplishments, things that went well, not have serious discussions, because that will deter your family from wanting to have these family dinners. You also don't want to run yourself ragged. Don't stress over, preparing these gourmet meals. Just take it one step at a time. Like I said, plan 1 or 2 days a week that you can really dedicate to having family dinners. Involve your family, and really just work towards having more family dinners together. I hope that I was able to talk to you today about healthy eating habits, about reducing the risk of substance abuse, and also taking steps to having your own family dinners. One thing that I want you to think about is if the health of your family and the well-being is worth the time to take to prepare and sit down and have those 1-hour dinners with your family. I know that is for me, and it's very easy and simple to do. So sit down as a family, schedule the time, and eat together as a family. Thank you very much.